All right there, everyone. We have some breaking news here. That left-wing liberals' worst nightmare has come true. The Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg is dead. It was just announced that she died at her home, surrounded by family. We, of course, have been tracking with Ginsburg's failing health now for months on this channel. She was 87 years old. She's a three-time cancer survivor. She was battling a recurrence of pancreatic cancer of late, and she has finally succumbed. And of course, our condolences to her family. But at the same time, we of course have to address the dramatic effects this is going to have on the 2020 election on November 3rd. Simply put, gang, the Democrats just saw their chance at stealing the 2020 election disappear. It literally died right along with Ginsburg. Now, there's a couple of scenarios for how that's going to play out. First, we could see Trump appoint the fifth and decisive conservative on the Supreme Court, right? We already have Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell vowing to hold a vote on President Trump's nominee. Lisa Murkowski, who's about as swampy as a politician can possibly get, she's already said she's not going to vote for any nominee put forward until after the election. But then again, Murkowski voted against Kavanaugh, so she's totally irrelevant. You guys in Alaska, can you please send us a better senator? I don't know why you keep sending us these rhinos, but regardless, she's irrelevant. She will vote against whoever Trump puts forward. But the fifth conservative would effectively thwart any possible attempt by the Democrats to steal the election, because Trump is already making sure this does go to the Supreme Court. That's going to happen. We now know that the Democrats are going to try to steal this election. They are securing their state Supreme Courts in key battleground states to allow for mail-in voting way past the November 3rd election. And so that's why Democratic operatives are pushing this whole idiotic notion of a red mirage. A red mirage means that they fully expect a massive Trump landslide on November 3rd on Election Day. Steve Bannon has been arguing this. The Democrats have effectively frozen their base. Their base is too scared. They're too freaked out about coronavirus to come out and vote, particularly in blue states that have been hardest hit, adversely hit by the virus. And so they know that the Trump vote is going to come out and it's going to be like a tsunami on Election Day. And it's going to absolutely overwhelm Democrat voters. And so what they're doing is they're making plans on fabricating votes after the election, after the fact, so as to undo what happened November 3rd. And so Trump is already lawyering up and preparing to completely flood the courts with attempts to overturn or at least frustrate these efforts at overturning the November 3rd election. But now all bets are off because the Democrats were counting on this ultimately going to the Supreme Court, and they were hoping that John Roberts, would once again flip and join the liberals and vote against Trump and his efforts at ratifying the final results of November 3rd. And so that was the one ace in the hole for the Democrats. John Roberts as the fifth vote to overturn the results of the November 3rd election. That fifth vote is gone. As we stand right now, that fifth vote is gone. It's gone either as the result of now only having 8 people in the court, or it's gone as a result of Trump successfully putting on the official fifth conservative, who will most obviously vote in Trump's favor. So this is an extraordinary development. So you got Thomas, Alito, Gorsuch, and Kavanaugh, right? They're the 90 to 95% reliable conservatives. Then, of course, you had the 4 liberals, and Kavanaugh was the swing vote. He's the new Anthony Kennedy, right? Though in fairness to him, all right, he does side more often with conservatives than liberals, fully acknowledging how ridiculously frustrating he can be. But now with the death of Ginsburg, all bets are off. You've only got 3 libs. Roberts is going to be under enormous pressure to vote with the 4 conservatives in order to avoid a tie. Now, it's not all rosy here. If Trump is not able to get a Supreme Court nominee passed, and if Roberts wants to simply pass the buck, he could vote with the liberals, and that will result in a 4-4 tie. And besides the fact that he would, from that point forward, forever be the single worst enemy of conservatives everywhere forever, besides that, what happens at that point in a Supreme Court tie is that the previous ruling from the lower court, the most recent decision, tends to stand. But again, I have a hard time believing that Roberts is going to do that, not given the precedent of the 2000 election. The Supreme Court saw it as their responsibility to get involved, and I have a hard time seeing Roberts passing the decision over to a lower court. So at this point, without doing anything, even without President Trump's nominee passing, whoever it ends up being, even without this nominee being confirmed, it looks increasingly like any attempt to steal the election by the Democrats has just been totally thwarted. There is now officially only 3 liberals on the Supreme Court, and the hope of the Democrats to flip Roberts appears increasingly remote. So this is a major development in the upcoming election, and liberals know it. Leftists know it, all right? Have you seen some of the tweets that came out of late, just in the last hour? I'll give you a sampling. F you, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. F you for not retiring under Obama. F you for dying under Trump. F you, F you. Pleasant, huh? Yeah, quite the eulogy. Here's another one. Ruth Bader Ginsburg's replacement is going to be a Gen Xer white nationalist. F any of you who didn't vote for Hillary. Here's another one. F. We are absolutely F. 2020 just got a whole lot worse. So they know. I mean, leftists know that the death of Ginsburg has completely destroyed their hopes for stealing the 2020 election. They not only know that, but they know that the Supreme Court is now going to become fully conservative as a result. That's at least the most likely scenario that we should see playing out in the weeks ahead. So, of course, we'll be keeping our eyes on how things develop here, but it appears increasingly certain that with the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the Democrats' hopes to steal the 2020 election have died right along with her. God bless everyone.